Can y'all see it? Oh, looks like you're
See. I will
going
post
live.
the live stream.
It says that it's live.
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, we good. All it took was an OBS update and pain and suffering.
Pretty much. I will start the event. All right. Welcome, folks.
We are hugely sorry of that. It looks like I need to turn myself down. Apologies.
We are now starting the Town Hall of May 2022. Not only is it 2022, quite a while since the last major town hall, but it's 22 minutes late. But that is fine. In terms of history, that won't matter too very much.
I highly recommend tagging everyone.
I mean, we did it here, but we can do it again.
Yeah, but it's been a while. It's been a hot minute. So we have a couple of town hall topics. I have put the town hall topics in a pinned if you want to look at that in the recordings, folks. And yeah, so we have 4 topics today. The first one is what the heck happened to the Waffle station wagon anyway? That would be our first one. And the explanation there will give a bit of a rundown to what's going on. We have, now that we're here, what does this mean for the DeviantArt? And as shown in the descriptor, it is officially our time to retire the DeviantArt. We will explain why when we get there. And yeah, the next topic is for phase 2 of the group. With the updates we have done to the Waffle station wagon, we have a new bot system to replace the old DeviantArt voting system, and new content channels for updates, which you may be able to see below this channel category here. All of the stuff is there. We just moved the town hall to the top, but the community stuff will be put back below the creation contributions post town hall. Hello.
Who that? Oh.
And so
yeah.
phase 3.
Who?
Go ahead.
Oh.
The main Chaparino, SDK Production.
Hello. Anyway, phase 3 will be our last town hall topic. As for the anything not mentioned section of past, it will be saved for after that topic. So now we will start our first topic. So what the heck happened to the Waffle station wagon anyway? So the story of what happened, and in fact why town hall and community attention and retention has been so low since the Waffle station wagon last hit its heyday, is due to 3 very specific reasons. The 3 axes of what happened. 1. DeviantArt Eclipse happened. DeviantArt Eclipse was the big change that DeviantArt made to its website. It is the update that turned it into essentially another art station, which is a art portfolio website. And with DeviantArt Eclipse, we had a lot of problems happen to our accessibility to voting and other such things. Chun can kind of describe how many steps it took to even just get to the voting page. So, yeah, tell us about it.
All right, I'm gonna speed run it right now. All right, I'm gonna first, if Ort wants to follow along here, he can. Step 1, you open up DeviantArt. Step 2, where am I even supposed? Oh, hold on, I got this.
What a good
okay, okay, okay.
Wait,
step.
what's going on?
No, I'm still looking. Hold on. I think you suddenly get the idea. I think you suddenly just from me hesitating, you get the idea.
Hold
I
on.
still haven't found where I'm supposed to look, by the way.
So,
Oh, that was
Okay.
intentional. I
so,
thought you stumbled.
No,
so,
it's not intentional. I'm still looking.
So for my step, I can follow along. So when I log into DeviantArt's homepage, I see the Waffle Station Wagon group on the side with a red button, right? I click it, and you think it would take you to the first page of the DeviantArt. Nope. What this does is it takes you to the Waffle Station Wagon submission feed, not actually the group itself, because that would make too much sense, right?
But good news,
But
I found it, guys. I
I
found the way to get to the
follow
notifications.
the rule of like going to the Waffle Station wagon.
Be quiet for a second. I
Then
finally found it. I
then
have
just put
cracked
all
the code.
submissions
I have.
listed.
Please
Yeah,
be
go ahead.
quiet. I thank you for
Please-
temporarily muting this
Yeah.
man so I can.
Please be
Okay,
quiet,
okay.
SCK. You're rather loud.
Okay.
Bit of
Yeah.
a loud mouse.
And when I tell you to be quiet, you probably should. Okay. Anyways, I've cracked the code, guys. You go to the groups, you go to the Waffle Station Wagon, you don't click it because that's trap. That will take you through 10 years of suffering. You click on the three dots next to the Waffle Station Wagon. Then you click on group notifications. And then it takes you to the notifications page that you can click on accept, like I'm going to just do for the beanbag chair right now. Or you could, and there you go. That's how you do it.
Alternatively, you can go to the Waffle Station Wagon front page, either by like Google searching Waffle Station Wagon or something, heading there with your login to the admin area, and once you're in the admin area, you click into the log button, and from there you have to figure out which of these three sections to go to. And oh, hey, let's look at this. When it decides to load, because keep in mind that it can take up to a minute to 30 seconds to load, because DeviantArt is a very stable platform now. So after you wait like an hour for the page to load, you go into the message logs, and then you have to sift through all of the stuff that's already been accepted and just find the stuff that needs to be voted on. And there you go. A perfectly broken system. And part of the reason why we had a lot of problems keeping the upkeep of the group, because it was just a slog, as you can tell, to even just be an admin or a contributor of the group to just vote on basic things.
I
But
honestly thought when the message log stopped loading, I thought it was just because it was going to pull up like another graph like there was in summary. I legitimately did not realize it took like, hold on, yeah. Well, it took 5 seconds now that I've cast it. But
yeah.
Why?
yeah.
So even though we updated our voting system to rely on 2 votes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it still doesn't matter, because the retention the admins had to voting in the first place became just such a pain in the butt. Unless you had a direct link, which kind of just got muddied in chat rooms, it became just a pain to vote. So we moved the voting system here. So that helped quite a bit, but we still had 2 other problems. The second of the 3 axis that we had to deal with is Kirby M straight up abandoned Wolfus.
If I
As
may,
Yep.
real quick, just to like
Yeah.
address you can click on visit group option in the thing. That's
Yeah.
the correct way to get to the Waffle Station Wagon main page without actually just going to the website directly. That's how you get to there.
Yeah.
But at that point, why not just go to the same exact tab and click on group notifications in the first place?
Yeah, it used to be so simple too. Like, you didn't have to go through all these extra steps just to get to the voting page. Back in pre-Eclipse, all you literally had to do is go to a drop-down menu, and there you go. Bam, you were right in the voting. That's all there was to it. DeviantArt Eclipse just ruined everything, and the
Yeah.
stability of the site in and of itself has been questionable. Just like 2 weeks ago, they destroyed the ability to read descriptions. They
What?
fixed it.
It's fun.
They
Why?
fixed it, to be fair, but no, all the descriptions in DeviantArt were pretty much unviewable because Wix is good at making websites, and yeah, essentially that. And more recently, it was just straight up not working at all.
Yeah. Anyways,
Why?
riffing on DeviantArt aside, continue with the thing that you were gonna say. It was about Kirby. I'm just completely abandoning the
Yeah.
Wolf's project
Yeah.
as a whole.
So the last update to Walfus had Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom characters in it. And from there was never an update to give more Walfus characters, and we had to rely on customs. That was the first bad sign, but the big thing is this had a huge knock-on effect to the entire way of life we had. Without the creator working on Walfus in any way, the motivation to continue working on Walfus with a lot of limitations in how you're able to use characters, and in fact the customs themselves, became a huge part of the life of this community after. And thing is, the interest in Walfus was already beginning to diminish, not just with the creator leaving, but just generally how Walfus was perceived outside of the community. It's not it's not known for the best reputation. Figuratively and literally speaking, there are a lot of people who will come into the community and just use it as a soapbox for bad characters because of the original pitch Kirby M had, which was create your own Toho character. That used to be what Walfus's slogan was before it became into its own dedicated thing, where you could use Toho characters to make comics and stuff. This sort of OC creator style program just lended itself to a lot of creations that weren't exactly good. A good example was the Walfus event that happened at TohoCon, I believe, where the opening was, "Hello, I am BLZ
Oh,
from
right.
Elder
Oh,
Blade
yes.
2."
That. And I'm an
Yes,
awesome original character, Donut Steel.
yes,
Yes.
but the internet kind of still made fun of Wolfus in a lot of ways for its use. It hardly affected us as a group, but it did affect how other people saw Wolfus, and we didn't get very many new people because of Wolfus's otherwise bad reputation in other places. So now we had a community that was pretty much in the eyes of a lot of other parts of the Toho community, extended or otherwise, viewed as sort of a low quality and not very good medium for creation, which we've known from our heyday is absolutely what it can be. And with the right standards and quality control, it was definitely the community we needed to be. But of course, the creative limitations that came with the creator's departure meant that we weren't going to get access to the new characters, which have traditionally, when Wafis was being updated, been a big focus of content creation. So content creation took a huge hit because now we had to rely on when somebody was going to make a cool custom for the new characters. And that, of course, can vary depending on who it is. And so, quality control and setting a standard for customs was absolutely needed. And with everything that has happened, especially with our third axis problem, we had to very much rely on just the standards set by good people in the community, which that has slowly run its course. The third axis of what has happened on top of the creator leaving and DeviantArt pretty much updating and ruining everything is the end of Flash.
Oh.
Yeah, the end of Flash, like it or not, has still created a slew of problems, technical or otherwise, to the life of using Wolfus in general. And while we have ways around it, and we had ways to kind of help mitigate the problem, they were never foolproof solutions because the end of Flash still came with a lot of problems. For one, we use the Flash player projector, right? And the Flash player projector had multiple different versions. One of the latest was updated by Adobe to be gimped for no good reason. Basically, if you had the
Gimp?
latest version of Flash Player Projector, Adobe had updated it so that it wouldn't work. Whereas if you had downloaded it before the certain end of life features for Flash Player Projector, it would work.
It-
So Adobe as a company is really stupid. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just baffled at
Yeah.
what you were saying.
So
If it's going to stop anyway, I'd actually like to point out another alternative to this that I have learned about fairly recently, but maybe probably one of the more reliable ways to do it. I haven't really tested it out in detail. Both create.swift and create.swift extensive are archived in Flashpoint. So you can just type in create.swift into the search bar of Flashpoint alongside all of like the countless other Flash games that have been archived in the system. And you can just install it and play it.
yeah, Flashpoint is a good alternative, and in fact, internally, if you look into the file structure, it uses a version of the Flash Player Projector that actually works. So the way we've been doing it has just been don't download like how big is Flashpoint's biggest update? Like 200 or 500 gigabytes for the full thing, or
Huh?
something ridiculous.
Let me look. Let me look. I got this.
But
It is a ridiculous number, but that's just because it comes with everything. According to Flash 10.1 Ultimate, 874 gigabytes when extracted. Because there's just
yeah,
that much Flash player related content out there. The Infinity version, which is the version that I have, is 3 gigabytes because it doesn't include all the games.
yeah. So the Infinity version is an alternative, and getting an old version of the Flash Player Projector is another working thing, since you can still do all this manually. And SDK mentions in the chat that Ruffle as an emulator and an extension, I believe, for your browser does also emulate Flash. And there's another fourth alternative, which is the Pale Moon web browser, which still has native Flash support allowed within its confines. So now that it's been a couple of years, the third problem of Flash running its course definitely has ways to work around it. Back then, when Flash was ending, not even Flash Player Projector or even Flash Blue Maxima's Flashpoint was a perfect alternative, but now that the internet has slowly adjusted to the end of Flash, it is it is a lot more easy to get back into Flash content than it used to be. So any of RSG's tools that use AS3 will not work with Ruffle. Yeah. So Ruffle does not support ActionScript 3 yet, so it's still got a ways to go before it can emulate all of the proper Flash stuff that we use for create.swift and other such tools. So yeah, we're still slowly figuring out the technical abilities of what we can do post post the end of Flash. But now that we have a lot more up to date and better end of life tools for Flash after its departure, the third one is a lot less of a big impact considering Kirby M's departure and its implications were a little bit more heavy at the time because, the creator, in fact, to this day on their Twitter, actually makes fun of Wolfus. So definitely they buy into the whole bad reputation Wolfus has. They've since moved on their Twitter to do HoloLive stuff, and they even have a pretty cool gig with a VTuber studio, which is cool. So yeah, definitely support the previous Wolfish creator when you can. They're doing some pretty cool stuff now. Either way, the first Axis, DeviantArt, was not something we could resolve. So that leads into our second topic. And our second topic today is, now that we're here, what does this mean for DeviantArt? Well, as aforementioned, this is the town hall where we announce the end of the DeviantArt side of the community. And yeah, it is definitely a good time to do that. Because of all the extra steps it would be to maintain it, it is just not worth keeping up DeviantArt. And so nowadays, when we have the bot feature to work around the voting problem we had, thanks to Tune, we have all the content streaming platforms that we need in the form of Pixiv being a good uploading hub and DeviantArt being a good quality control for what goes into the Pixiv. Because the nature of Pixiv and the way we have it is now a cross community group. We are no longer just tied to one specific group. No, we can pretty much accept content from everybody, including the Japanese side of the community that uses the Walfus tag, which is pretty dang neat. However, the DeviantArt group was supposed to be a quality control with its voting system. We wouldn't accept things that didn't meet basic requirements, right? But the Discord group is now going to act as that quality control because the Wolfus tag could be on Pixiv could be filled with stuff that is less than savory. But here in the Wolfus Station Wagon Discord, we have made it our bid to make sure that the quality stuff that is acceptable and up to par with our basic guidelines are going to fit the mold. So yeah, Pixiv is going to be our content creation platform moving forward instead of DeviantArt. But one thing we will say about DeviantArt that still hasn't outlived its usefulness is the ability to upload props and downloadable things that you can import into Walfus. Thing is, it still has a really good download feature. And in the past, we have played around with the idea of using like Mega or Mediafire or Dropbox or something as an alternative. As it turns out, DeviantArt is still a pretty good alternative for uploading custom props as a download because hosting downloads on Pixiv is not something that it has. You can pretty much upload previews of props and demonstrations, and that's about it, other than just manually uploading a collective of all your props into one, which is a bit cluttered. Yeah, uh, that would be fun, manually downloading one by one props.
Yeah, I will say though that speaking of Mega as a potential alternative for that purpose, because of how Mega is structured, you can simply just link to the folder that actually contains your props and then click on the download all button.
Yeah, so you can
But yeah,
actually download that one individual prop from a pack that is pretty cool. So Mega does offer something that DeviantArt doesn't have in the form of that folder. So you can pretty much curate or just download the entire thing as a pack if you don't want to sift through all the props of a pack. That
I
being, go ahead.
sorry. Like just to point out the archive.org example because I've seen one particular person upload props a lot. How do I pronounce his name? I have absolutely no idea. Psycho DMK, whatever.
Yeah.
But that person effectively does a lot with archive.org. Like he links both the DeviantArt link to the prop and the archive.org link to the prop in the Pixiv description. But
Hmm.
basically, whatever Okay, Koopa, fair. But basically, what we're trying to say is that whatever hosting alternative for props, as long as you provided it, really works. It's just it's not as simple as, oh, I can click the button on the right side to download the prop anymore.
Yeah, but in that sense, we do have a lot more alternatives. Like, yeah, they use DeviantArt and Archive, but as Chun said, you can use Mega for its folder-specific systems to download individual props. So definitely, DeviantArt still has that one thing going for it. But for the sake of this topic and the end of life, we will be making one last journal update after this town hall, announcing its end. And with it, we will update the page to pretty much act as a Google search hub to find where the Waffle station wagon is today. So it will be pretty much useful for an invite link to Discord and a good way to see the archive of pretty much everything that has been uploaded in the past to DeviantArt. And on that topic, I did want to pose the suggestion, would you folks be okay if in the Pixiv content channel we do, in fact, link back to some pretty cool featured or otherwise cool content in our Pixiv content streaming channels, just like manually posting some cool content from the past?
I'm trying to figure out whether it would be better to explicitly just do that and have it be delegated to the original channels, or have a separate DeviantArt archive channel for that sort of purpose.
At the same time, the idea of making a DeviantArt archive sort of channel is is maybe a bit redundant because we do have our own content channels, and of course the idea is just to sort of promote good examples in our content streams about what we expect from people. So I've heard somebody suggest that to me in the past, like why not just import or link back to some DeviantArt uploads that were really good examples for the community. And so that's a suggestion that I wanted to pose here. I mean, we do. We've got
That's
a few
fair.
in the might want to give those oldies a look. Yeah, I can understand, but of course the whole idea is that most of the DeviantArt stuff we'd link back to would get immediately depreciated by the new Pixiv content streaming stuff. At the same time, waiting on uploading or linking to any of those DeviantArt contents within our content channels is going to be done pretty carefully. But yeah, we we will take that consideration into account potentially. But for now, we're just kind of focused on where do we go from here, right? And making the DeviantArt a hub to find us where we are now is going to be a big part of the changes that will come to the DeviantArt. So we will definitely be changing things like the About Us page, the journals, the comments, and most of the content that's there will be left untouched. Otherwise, the biggest change will be we will no longer be voting on accepting submissions.
Okay, in the DeviantArt, that's effectively what you mean, because we still vote on Pixiv submissions.
Oh yeah, we're like I said, we just moved that here, but we won't be accepting any more DeviantArt submissions anymore. Come today and come the journal announcement officially. That's when that will be talked about.
Right, so you could
You can
technically
still,
still post on DeviantArt. It's
yeah,
just that we aren't going to be accepting submissions. You could definitely do what Koopa usually does for something like props, for instance, where he posts the props on DeviantArt, like their actual zip files, and then you can link back to that. It's effectively your choice how to handle DeviantArt from now on. Just
yeah.
know that we aren't going to be looking at submissions basically at all.
And here's the other mulligan. Yes, you can still upload content of Wolfus you make to your DeviantArt. However, DeviantArt is such a broken website that we have no way to include DeviantArt uploads into the incorporation of our voting system. We can only use Pixiv because the Pixiv API was actually helpful when it came to making a bot designed around accepting submissions and voting and all of that sort of thing. So, yeah, feel free to use DeviantArt. Just know that we can't feature it as readily or accessibly as we could in the past. The way you can get around that, if you insist on using DeviantArt, is going into our creation contribution category and just like linking back to the thing you made on DeviantArt there. That's the best we can offer, but in the end, it's not going to be the best thing we have available to you. For all intents and purposes, the DeviantArt group is depreciated, and uploads on it are also going to be. But like I said, the niche of uploading custom props to it is absolutely still going to work. So yeah, that is the best we can offer for now. So in regards to the DeviantArt, yeah, we are going to make sure it's a hub so that people generally who just wanted to join a Wolfus community and get their creative upstart from it can find us here pretty easily and effectively. So yeah, DeviantArt is now, as Japheth says, is now the prop zone or the extra site. So yeah, there you go. So that about does it for DeviantArt as a topic, but if anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask because I mean it is our biggest change as a community to this point. So go ahead and if anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask.
Okay.
Go ahead, STK.
So I was gonna like ask a question about like for a lot of the Wolfus props because I still have like my Wolfus props still up on DeviantArt, and I'm just like curious, like, is it possible to also post the zip files onto Pixiv?
Unfortunately, no. There
Ah,
is the way around it. You can essentially do the mega method that Chun talked about, where you can upload individual props as a manga upload, but
I
no,
see.
you cannot upload an entire whole zip file.
All
However,
right.
you can link back to it on the Pixiv description. So basically, if you upload your prop to say DeviantArt, Archive, or Mega, or Mediafire, or whatever, you can
Well, I
just
was
link
gonna
back to it
say.
on Pixiv.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say that I even said this in the town hall voice text that I'm planning to also put my Wolfus props onto my archive.org page.
Hmm.
Okay.
So I'm just like thinking that if people don't have DeviantArt accounts, I'm planning to post a link to it in case they don't want to also have the
Yeah,
props as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
well,
that's
that
a
could
good
work.
yeah, and that's a good suggestion. Like if people do not have a DeviantArt,
We gotta.
it's still accessible to get downloads, but it can be a little bit trickier, especially if you're like trying to keep up with your prop creator. But Japheth asked in the chat, do you guys have a way to handle like contest submissions in the near future? And believe it or not, in this very category, yes, we do. With the use of the event feature, we can create contest announcements for community and otherwise. And real quick, SDK, your background is going off. Could you go and push to talk?
Don't worry. Don't
Okay.
worry, I've muted him.
Yeah, for now.
Just to be
Anyway,
real quick.
so yeah, we can use the event feature that we have for this town hall as a way to announce contests like we did in the DeviantArt past, and the accepting of submissions can be done pretty much like one of our If you check the creation contributions channel, we have, let's see, actually, where is it? Where's the biweekly prompts channel? Aha, there it is. Walfus prompts in the creation contributions. Walfus prompts and the biweekly prompts will generally be how we handle contest submissions going forward, I believe.
In addition, like in terms of like, I'm guessing you're also talking about Pixiv logistics or things like that. Well, of
Yeah.
course, on here, in terms of like contest submissions, we'll have our own dedicated channel for it and the like. I
Mhm.
feel that in terms of Pixiv related inquiries, we're most likely just going to have it just be distributed to its appropriate channel as if it was a normal comic. Contest submissions are probably just going to purely be a Discord thing rather than a Pixiv thing.
Yeah. Not to say you can't upload the content of what your contest submission was to Pixiv. That's perfectly acceptable and, in fact, all but encouraged. You can even specify that this was done for a community contest as well to help promote the Discord group on Pixiv and such. So, yeah. The
Okay, so
go ahead.
Hmm.
okay, so now I want to talk now. So I'm gonna also plan this for my Waffles props, and I'm gonna put a description saying non-DeviantArt users are free to download my props. Just remember to give credit, and just put it in the description.
A good thing to bring up because yes, all the standards of crediting people still do apply. And in fact, in our updated rules, if you go look at the detailed rules, we definitely put a section there saying that credit is absolutely a big deal. And if we find you are not crediting people, we may not accept your submission in our voting process as a sort of content filter. But we will typically notify people on Pixiv or Discord that they are not crediting a certain prop creator. Although
No,
it
sorry for interruption, but no. This has happened at least once before, which is the reason why it was added to the rules in the first place. Besides it just being like an unspoken good practice type rule. But it has happened at least once before, and the person didn't exactly handle it as well. So don't be like
yeah.
them.
And it involved Facebook of all things, funny enough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, speaking of, I was even like I remembered like one time one of my friend wanted to have like Waffles props downloaded from DeviantArt, but she doesn't have a DeviantArt account. But the DeviantArt wants you to make accounts if you want to download something, which is like very stupid.
It is. And that's part of the reason why we are depreciating it. It is a good place to, host custom props if you'd want them. It's probably the best alternative we had because Mega,
Oh, wow.
Mega, Mega, and Mediafire all have file limits, right? And that's a huge problem to the livelihood of custom prop uploaders because eventually you're going to reach the limit and then you're going to have to pay money to get past the limitations of how much you can do. Archive.org doesn't really have this problem. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah,
And it
that's
also
why I'm
gives you
sticking
the
with archive.org. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, that's okay. But yeah.
Mega seems to have like a 50 gig limit, so I think it's not really that. I don't think it's that easy to use at the limit, but yeah, if you want to just stick with something else, archive.org is probably the best.
Another suggestion I got was from somebody who uses another alternative to Discord, actually. There's a program out there called QTalks, and it is sort of like the alternative program idea behind BitTorrent. It's called QTorrent. QTalks and BitTalks are both different things, but QTalks is what I recommend in this instance or this example, where we could potentially make a QTalks based Discord branch. And the entire purpose we would create something like this is not only to give an anonymous sort of chat room, but also to have a way to get around the Discord upload limits. You know how Discord has that 8 megabyte file upload limit, which is
Yeah,
really
that.
stupid.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, Qtalks kind of goes back to the Skype standard where you could just upload things to it, but the only thing that made it dependent on anything was, upload time. Like bigger files took longer to upload. And so, yeah, the suggestion that I got to use Qtalks is still really cool. And Nitro is, of course, a paid option, and paying money at all to get around a file upload limit is really stupid. So if you don't want to pay for Discord Nitro to upload your crap, go ahead and get a Qtalks and start adding your friends on there, because that is a great way to send files peer to peer.
Hashtag not an ad.
It's not an ad.
really
It's
should
also
go
it's
see
also yeah, it's also open source, so you can kind of tell what it does. Unlike, Discord, it's closed source, so you don't really know what the people behind it are doing at any given point. We'll still absolutely use it. This is not like a bid to say we will stop using Discord in the future for Q Talks. No way in heck. This is just our suggestion to get around file limits for peer to peer sharing, because it's kind of the same thing we're doing with archive.org, Mega, and all these other suggestions for the content uploading side, because, that
Yeah, it's basically
like
it's just another option. Sorry for interrupting, but yeah.
as Hika said, convenience. It's always good to have the option, and it's always good to get around paid option alternatives, because the whole idea of this group is to basically be free first. We want to provide free options and alternatives, software and everything, to help creation just flourish. And that's sort of the whole idea behind Waffus itself. You don't have to pay money to say, like, make a Gmod comic or something like that. So yeah, that is something we have been looking forward, and that definitely helps the end of life of our DeviantArt group. So yeah, it's still usable. We just cannot promote DeviantArt content easily or the same way we could as in the past. So I know there will be people on DeviantArt that is sad to hear this from our town hall, but it is unfortunately something we need to do and consider for our community moving forward. Pixiv just offered us the exact amount of alternatives we needed, and also helped very much with content creation in general, as well as being cross community, because the Walfus Station Wagon DeviantArt was a bit exclusionary towards other communities. Not something we wanted to do, but it was just the nature of how the group system on the site worked. So yeah, unfortunately, the Walfus Club and the prop centric groups and other such communities were not so lucky. I do hear that the guild hall is still working, but we just couldn't continue our group under the guise that we could not do things under the same quality or up to par standards as we had. So all of these changes were, and in fact all of the delays to the community getting updated in the first place, were because we felt as an admin team that we were not giving exactly what we needed to make the group feel the same way it did in the past. The three things that happened that baffled a couple of you guys here, yeah, it was definitely a contributing factor. In fact, the only reason we are able to do this now is because June can program, and we have a bot now that can do these things that used to be just standard fare on websites, which is nice.
Once again, June is based.
Yeah. Without him, we wouldn't be here today, so definitely give him credit where it is due. The Wolfish station wagon would not be alive right now if it wasn't for the help of bots and, just the inventiveness we've been able to come up with around it.
Edgeworthbowing.gif.
Thank you for being our funny bunny mansion.
Yeah.
Problem.
It's as Koopa said, if only DeviantArt didn't screw up with Eclipse, because
True.
yeah,
Yeah,
in fact, the last thing I wanted to mention before we moved on to the
Yeah, I still
topic
remember
is,
that though.
yeah, the real thing is we did not want to make this transition. DeviantArt was a working, viable option, and the only reason we had to do this is because DeviantArt tried to fix what isn't broken and try to become the next art station. If it hadn't have done that, if Wix hadn't bought DeviantArt and it just stayed the way it was, we wouldn't be here doing this today. We would pretty much be continuing as normal. But as such, we just felt as a group it wasn't working out. And of course, we are pretty short-handed in admin team as a result of that. Like me, Chun, and Ort are pretty much the main deal of staff that's left. There are others that are still around, but a lot of the same admins that you once knew have not been active and have moved on to other things. Not that I necessarily blame them. The Wolfish group kind of got depreciated really hard with the leaving of its creator, the loss of Flash and DeviantArt. It was just kind of hard to continue the group as is. But with the transitions we have made, we now have pretty much the end of life support going for the community, and it's going to be a lot more future proof. So, this is a nice segue into the next topic, which is phase 2 of the group. Yeah, phase 1 has already been completed, as you might be able to tell with the updates we have around here. The new rules, the FAQ, the About Us, and the voting process for the Pixiv content streams are all part of phase 1, which was to put the bot in place to allow the foundation of our group to continue. Now, what is phase 2? Phase 2 of the new Wolfish Station Wagon updates is going to be bringing everything we once had up to speed with the modern updates and renditions of the group. The the big thing and what this explanation of what phase 2 is we'll look at, say, the rules channel and the updates we have done to it and the detailed stuff. So if I could direct your attention to the rules to the top of the chat where we have the reentry or reentry or
I don't know
however
how
you,
it's pronounced. I just found the website.
yeah, but the Wolfish Station Wagon rules, but detailed URL either way. And if you look in there, we have
What this?
do's and don'ts, and we have at the bottom of do's, the second to last, upload content for our basic guidelines. The basic guidelines is on an old DeviantArt stash link done by Spezteak, and it links to part 2 because part 1 is a huge, like, ridiculously long-winded explanation to the group, how to join it, how to do things in it, and stuff like that. But in regards to our contents and basic submissions, we would always link back to part 2, which had the basic guidelines, which was really important. We want to revive the basic guidelines, and in the very first part, we are going to put the basic guidelines as our first thing, so you don't go to a part 1 that has a bunch of wall of text or anything. Spestique had the right idea at the time, but it's certainly part of a style that has since been moved on from, which is why we would only link back to part link back to part 2 because part 2 had all of the guidelines that we needed. So yeah, we are going to get an updated basic submissions and guidelines to the standard of our Discord. And with it, it will be a few of the old comics you see here in the basic guidelines, but a few new things as well. And we don't just want to do it for submission guidelines, but we also want to make guidelines for everything else, including the standard of video uploads and submissions to the group. So, like making YouTube content, we want to make tutorials on how to create Walfus content and videos for YouTube because, frankly, that was the foundation of our group, right? Like Walfus community and the Walfus station wagon itself started as a YouTube centric community, and we definitely want to support that, especially for like the livelihood of contest and stuff.
I even remember, sorry, I even remember a YouTuber by the name of Suwako talking about Walfus, and I even heard like lots of people talking about how nostalgic they feel when a lot of people talk about Walfus.
Yeah, and a lot of YouTube is kind of the reason for that. But I don't just want to stop there at the basic guidelines. I think we should also make guidelines for a lot of other things, such as props and customs. The thing is, we have some really good creators in the community that have had a good history of making really quality uploads for customs. And this is probably going to be the hardest because it's going to involve understanding and making a tutorial, centered around Inkscape. And Inkscape is notoriously hard to get into for one very specific reason. Vector graphics are kind of hard to work with.
I could briefly explain it because back when I was like quite active in the group, I used to do a lot of customs with either Inkscape or GIMP. The reason why I bring up GIMP is because there's a very similar principle in GIMP with the curves tool. Essentially, vector graphics are a collection of curves that you have to sort of fit together and actually apply things like fill to. For instance, like, I would want to say that the lines that make up the sort of black outline around a Wolfus character are just curves, but they aren't. They're actually two lines that effectively define a sort of fill area to make up those sorts of black lines. And the way that I use GIMP's curve tool is very similar in that sense, but that's just like the most basic whirlwind tour of what vector graphics are. You essentially define a bunch of curves and you tell it how to sort of handle those curves as well as the filling contents within. It's a difficult learning curve essentially, but
it
once you
is.
get to it, you can get efficient.
Oh yeah,
It
that's
is
right.
very
I
efficient
realized
because
that. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. The big thing is the standard we have set for this is going to be important because Vector has the unique advantage. If you're not familiar with it, here's the basic gist. If the unique advantage to being able to make custom props with Vector graphics is you can export them as PNGs to any size you'd like, including any scale. A good example of a content creator in the past who has made quality and in fact is going to be used as a pretty good example for the tutorials of the basic guidelines is actually Ferro Lagono. You folks might be able to remember them for making really high quality and high up to date standard props where they had pretty much everything you could think of in sizes up to 400 scale. It would go 400, 300, 200, 150x, and 100x, and then 50x. Essentially, that would give you the ability when importing to adjust the sizes to whatever you needed and not have a huge loss in quality, because one of the problems of uploading just a single 100 times zoom to a prop is that notoriously, this makes it really, really difficult to upscale props, and you will start to see like artifacting and stuff. Faralagono and Shin Kong are really good examples in this case because Shin Kong made a huge pack of arm props, and Faralagono had a good standard for making body props and custom props in general. And this sort of attitude and quality of standard is absolutely the template we want to share moving forward. And having an Inkscape based tutorial to help make it trivialized and accessible for new users is probably going to be the thing we want to do moving forward, because vector graphics also have a very unique advantage. You know those old props that you would really like to use? Well, as it turns out, vector graphics have this really cool advantage of being able to trace over lines of PNGs with vector graphics. So say you wanted to use a Halo energy sword or something, but it only comes in like 100 zoom size. You can use vector graphics to like trace over those lines and then bring that prop into a 400 times scale, just like that. And
As a
so,
If I
go
may
ahead.
interject, as a sort of like aside, I've used that sort of feature a lot to make custom arm props for my own stuff. It's just, there's just one slight problem with it, and
Hmm.
it's that really, really tiny props may not actually be parsed correctly. You have to have a pretty decent size on the prop for it to get like a super accurate trace. You may need to like slightly adjust some lines as a result to get like the absolute best experience, but otherwise it's pretty good.
Yeah, and even then, you can like upscale it and just kind of recreate it, e- even then, because like as he said, tiny props kind of have this problem. But there are a couple of pretty big packs out there that I can think of off the top of my head that have really cool future proofing reasons to exist. Like, I don't know if people have heard about them, but there was this content creator called Plucky Nova. And Plucky Nova was famous for making a custom prop pack for essentially making a Kirby character. So you could make Walfus Kirby characters. Yeah, like I'm seeing a couple people in the chat talk about Plucky, and yeah, you could essentially make your own Kirby avatar in Wolfus as a custom prop, which was really neat. So if you want to do something like that and make like a vectorized remake of their graphics and their pack, that is totally possible, because one of the cool advantages of custom prop creators is they all pretty much did so under a pseudo. Otherwise they may not have specified it or something, because I know one of our prop creators here, Hazami Yuto, named Boo Womp in the chat, by the way.
Womp.
Oh my gosh. But
Hey,
yeah, uh, they use vector graphics for their stuff, but they put all of their stuff under the Creative Commons license. And for the most part, as long as you give credit, you can remake other people's props in this community. It's a pretty tight knit thing and really cool. Now, one thing I have gotten a suggestion for that is a really good one is maybe we should create a custom prop hub. So there is a project out there on believe it or not, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, right? There's a ROM hack creation hub called Sky Temple, and they have a resource on GitHub where they have pretty much all of the Pokemon that don't come natively in the game and all of their forms and stuff like that for the purpose of using Sky Temple as a creation hub, right? And that got me thinking, why don't we make a custom props hub on GitHub that has pretty much all of the legacy props of old and a lot of the new props that will be created under these new standards. And I thought that would be a really great centralized place to upload all of the props that have been uploaded over the years and pretty much make everything accessible and findable. So I wanted to get people's view on that suggestion. What would you think about a GitHub library for custom props in a huge giant collection where you can just go to and search for what you want at any given time?
May I interject?
I'm up for it.
There is
Yeah, go ahead.
certainly an archive.org being run by Majora and Maiden for like old props. We already have some of those right on there right now.
That would be in the guild hall, yeah?
Yeah. It's certainly open for the entire Swaffish community. We have
Go
I
ahead
even
and link
remember
to
that
it in the
Ruined
text
Planet's
chat.
old Waffles props have been archived as well, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. That would be cool just based on the description. Yeah, I thought so too. While GitHub's one suggestion, the guild hall, as Omega said, has a sort of legacy place for props as well. And the idea we have here is mainly to split it up by categories and different media. So, like for example, on my custom prop folders, I have everything split up where I define things by like say media, where media is like
What about different
television.
artists?
Yes, everything has their names credited to them, which you can find on say DeviantArt, which is what I was using before. So the idea is that you have a centralized community of prompts and an easy way to access the artists that uploaded those props if they upload more content. So the idea would be like, say, you could sort by gaming and different categories to find, say, like an Ocarina of Time prop made by Koopa in just a nice, easy to navigate centralized hub with a lot of subroutines, folders, and all of that. Essentially being this big, giant GitHub navigation room. But as said by Omega, we can also use archive.org for this sort of thing too. But the idea is just essentially to make it a huge giant community hub with everything centralized. So, not just the Walfus Guild Hall having their own thing, but a quality of standard that can be, just handled across the entire community. So that's a huge scale thing. And it's probably not going to be just for phase two, but I do bring it up because the standards will definitely link back to those things in the future because it's kind of a big deal to do something like that. So, yeah, the basic guidelines will have things like that and be just a giant community resource for people coming into the Walfus station wagon. So, there will be a lot of links to a lot of different things. And if you're trying to find something specific, you can head to this link and just generally browse through what we have in terms of legacy content or new content. So, yeah. By the way, Omega Star, if you could link to the community hub the Walfus Guild Hall uses for their props, that would be cool. So we could check it out later and see what you guys have.
alright, I'll do that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
No problem.
So back on the topic of phase two, since that was a giant tangent, I know, but in addition to video creation, prop creation, and general basic community content uploading, we also want to incorporate a lot of the old tutorials seen in the stash, right? The stash has a lot of standardization for speech bubbles, sizing, and all of those other things. But the big thing we want to focus on is some of the other content beyond just, say, 4, which is like don't upload practice shots and stuff like that. 5, think about using original character / author avatar. OC usage and everything like that definitely needs an update for the community standards because it was our fifth rule, but it is not necessarily as big of a deal nowadays because using original creations and everything is part of the Wolfus Station Wagon's foundation and DNA because a lot of us all have our own avatars and Wolfus creations, which is really cool. So there is a part of it that is important, but defining how we use original characters definitely can be a little bit better than, say, the current stash section 5. So we want to overhaul and update and make a little bit more clear and concise exactly what we expect of the community. So things like that will have a brand new tutorial associated with it in addition to all of these contents. So will we use Stash again for our community standards? Yes, but we will also use the platform that I talked about before, which is the Waffle Station Wagon rules but detailed. We will use our HTML knowledge to be able to link back and show those comics in the same way as Stash. So we will have accessible versions. In addition to that, we will probably be making a PDF version that's downloadable and shareable. So it's a lot more accessible this time rather than just focused on one centralized site and Stash before. Now there will be options for you to share, say, the basic guidelines with your friends who are coming in or something of the sort. So the idea is to make the guidelines way more accessible and have multiple different website options. So, like, say, if our detailed rules website ever goes down for whatever reason, we will still have the PDF version and the Stash version. Same with the basic guidelines. So, future proofing and making sure things that can disappear off the face of the internet don't go away is a big part of that. Keeping archive.org in mind, you can actually go into the Wayback Machine with our Walrus rules but detailed and actually find our update history. We will be saving Wayback Machine screenshots of all the rule changes that we make over the years. So any big overhauls, like say the basic guidelines, will be given a screenshot waybackmachine.org, that sort of thing. So you can always see how our group is growing and be fully aware of the transparent changes that are going on within the group. Let's see.
Did the tag, and definitely there's a spreadsheet, but it's editable by everyone, so I'm not sharing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just making use of generally more internet related things has been a big fixture of what we are doing here. On top of that, we also have the guidelines for Toho Project fan creators, and the basic guidelines will be referring to those things as well, and being a bit more specific than just our detailed rules, but giving a guide on how to understand the Toho Project fan creators guide for creators. And this will definitely be the standard moving forward for, say, Wolfus Station Wagon YouTube uploads and video creations, because in the basic guidelines, we will have to specify that you have to put something at the beginning of the video that states that what you are making is a fan creation, just like the Japanese do on Nico Nico. Whenever they upload, say, something in MND, they have to specify at the beginning of every video that, hey, this is a Toho Project fan creation and may not be representative of the original. So formalities like that is what we want to bring.
Can you write that down for me so I can put it in my side notes for like every time I make Waffles projects on YouTube?
Here, let me link back to the guidelines themselves so you can understand them and write them down for yourself. So, yeah. these are the guidelines we will be following. Moving
Oh.
forward for creation of standards, we do not expect you will have to specify that it's a fan work on Pixiv because not even the Japanese people put a mulligan saying that, hey, this is a piece of fan art, so take that as you will. But this is mainly for creations of videos and stuff like that, and generally bigger scale stuff. So yeah, we want to kind of open up the community to be more than just the English branch, but open it up to, say, the wider community. Because Guy can attest to this, but there was one point where we got a comment from the Chinese Walfus community that, yeah, that exists, on how much they really liked our collab pieces on YouTube and wanted to contribute to it in the future or feature our content. So we want to open the door for things like that to happen. And as such, in our detailed rules, we expect people to talk English here, but we do have alternatives and options to be able to use, such as DeepL. And funny enough, you know how Google Translate is notorious for having really unreliable translation? Yeah, thankfully, the only good one is actually their Spanish one. They have an advantage in Google Translate now over DeepL, but otherwise we'd use Detail. Isn't White Tan a Chinese officer? Yeah, I do believe they are. So
Oh,
we
really?
want to open the door for people of all walks of life, no matter where they are in the world, to create Walfus content. There is a non-English channel in one of the servers I mod. It's been a lot of fun in there. Yeah, definitely cool. So yeah, the Walfus station wagon has finally transcended the need for just sticking to one DeviantArt group. We are now a cross-community centralized group, which is nice. Let's
Hey,
see, what was the program? What's the program you're asking about?
uh, something to use over Google Translate you mentioned?
DeepL.
DeepL.
It's a website, but it can also be a program.
Yeah, it's got a downloadable version that allows you to, in real time, highlight text, like say on your computer, and translate it. DeepL.
Oh,
Yeah.
Deep
Let me
L. Okay.
let me link the website actually, because DeepL not only has a web-based thing, but they have a download on their page, so you can download it and use it for yourself.
You linked it first.
You linked it
There
first,
we
but
go.
I mean,
here's the
technically,
actual web
yeah,
translator.
Actually, my website redirects the translator anyway. So,
Oh, okay, that's funny. But yeah, so if you go to the apps and download it, it's free. It's really nice. There is a plan for pricing and stuff like that. We don't recommend it because we think the free app is perfectly fine. Making an account is also fine too, and all sorts of things like that. And they have 28 languages, which is pretty cool.
I'm gonna put it in the YouTube live chat. What we
Cool.
recommend.
as an aside, actually, since Google Translate was brought up, I think DeepL and Google Translate both have their own distinct advantages. It just depends on how you use them. From just
Yeah.
sort of messing around and just cross-checking to see if this is actually a better translator than on my own time, because I know at least some Japanese, I found that for small phrases, DeepL consistently performs worse than Google Translate. For long phrases, DeepL consistently performs better.
Yeah.
So if you're looking up a particular if you're just trying to figure out what that one particular set of kanji is in someone's post, or try to get a specific word that you're trying to put into a sentence, Google Translate is better. But if you're trying to make an entire very long
Paragraph.
sentence, then DeepL is better.
Yeah. And like I mentioned before, the Spanish translator for Google Translate is actually a lot more foolproof and well aged than, say, DeepL's version of English to Spanish, which is very cool. But it's interesting how that works. Google
I
for
feel like it's
words.
more so
developer-
like DeepL for like longer sentences or paragraphs because I've
Yeah.
noticed in DeepL there's a lot of like linked context that is otherwise missing in Google Translate, which is why I say for longer sentences because Google tends to perform a lot better in like shorter phrases or something like that because there doesn't need to be that much context. It simply needs to be translated literally.
Yeah. Another thing about phase 2 to get on track with that as well is the idea of incorporating more than just the bot we do have. So one of the things about phase 2 that can be important is, say, getting a bot into the server that can track people who are trying to ban evade or use alts to evade their bans and stuff like that. There are some bots on Discord that are specifically tailored for tracking and determining whether or not there's an alt account trying to join. And that's a pretty cool feature. So we want to incorporate more of what Discord has available to us in this server and try to make it more safe and future proof in general for a lot of things, while still making use of our primary bot and features. One of the things I know that has been suggested, does it track IP addresses or something? I do not know. We're kind of trying to figure out what we can use, right? Because certain communities and other Discord servers have different bots that track alts and stuff. So the idea, of course, with using a bot is kind of to track the person of the IP so they can't just like make another account and evade, because banning by IP and stuff like that is something we're going to resort to as a last thing. VPNs, of course, are going to be a little bit more harder to get around, but keep in mind having a VPN always is a little difficult to do. And there are points and times where you turn your VPN off and then you can just get detected by these bots or something. So, it's about playing the long game in these cases. So things like that, just to make our group a little bit more on the safer side, is stuff we have been considering. On top of that, phase 2 will also incorporate some of the missing features we had from DeviantArt, such as the featured folder. The featured folder was one of our big things in DeviantArt where we could just feature some really cool content creation. One of the last ones we got featured was the creation of Ekebisu, actually, back when those were coming out. Uh-oh, or did not press record. That's why we have that's why we have the backup recording,
Uh-oh.
thankfully.
Punished,
And
Art.
Except
I mean,
Draco had to
YouTube technically.
leave.
yeah, Draco had to leave.
You could technically just. I think there's a way to just have
I
a
think I
YouTube
can
stream just
download
be
it.
published as a video. So
I
Yeah,
think I
I
can
think
download
I
it.
think
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
yeah, we
Let's
will.
just say that.
Well, you know what? This is a good point to start recording as now as well.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Hello,
started
everyone.
talking,
Welcome.
Diz, and I
Well,
panicked, so I figured roll with it.
hello,
It's
everyone.
okay.
Welcome to the actual town hall. This is the town hall that started. You can tell because the recording started here. Anyways, please continue.
Wow.
Just go.
Well, that sounds like Markiplier. That sounds like
yeah.
Markiplier.
Just for the sake of the recording, in case the YouTube stream goes belly up for some reason, it probably shouldn't, but yeah, we have so far gotten through our first 2 topics, and we are on the topic of phase 2 for the group. We've gotten a ways into it, including talking about the basic guidelines, including the standardization and the guidelines for video creation, as well as prop creation. So we handle a lot of those things now, and the other first topics we have already discussed. Yeah, DeviantArt is going away. We mentioned a lot of pretty cool alternatives that you can use to the website. All of these things will be trackable in case the recording's on, so no worries there. To get back on track to where we were, remind me what I was saying before the interruption.
You were going to give me $20.
That's not it.
Let's see here. Well, we were talking about DeepL just a few seconds ago, but
Okay,
maybe
so
that's
we
a
were
good
talking.
reminder.
Okay, DeepL, and then we were talking about the standards, I believe,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
and then yeah. So yeah, don't worry about it, guys. We will include the minutes to the town hall. We will be including it instead of in DeviantArt. We will be including it here. But yeah, the whole plan moving forward with phase 2. Oh yeah, I remember now. Bots. Bots that just keep us a little bit more safe from ban evasions or something like that, right? Because our current
Yeah, that's it.
and the featured folder for DeviantArt. Indeed, Jeppa,
That's not it.
we were right on
Just-
that. So we were featuring community content that is really cool on our DeviantArt. One of the last ones we featured was Akeobitu, as I was saying, as a custom prop, and it was pretty cool and everything like that. However, the featured folder kind of fell out of use as the updates to DeviantArt were happening, and the creator Kirby M abandoned Wolfus. They're known as Wolfie now, yada yada yada. But the whole idea is we should bring the featured folder back, and we should put it at the top of the Pixiv content thing here. But how we are going to handle the featured folder is something we wanted to specifically address to the community here. How would it sound if for phase 2 we included a featured folder but allowed the community to add their own specific reaction to feature it instead of just relying on the admins to do it?
That it would be pretty based.
For the
Yeah.
record, there
Um,
are bots that already do this that currently exist, things like Starboard, etc. And
Yes.
as just was sort of bringing it up, I did get an idea about how to sort of implement it into the current bot that we have here. So it's
Yeah.
realistically just a matter of that implementation.
Yeah, I
So,
already have that in the other server I'm in.
yeah.
I'm on.
Yeah, Starboard would be a really cool idea for a featured going forward, and more importantly, we hand the reins of what is featured off to the community. Of course, we can always manually post something that is to be featured, and that is still an option we have available to us, but now we have it both ways where the community can collectively decide to put a star on something and say, hey, this deserves to be featured. So looking at the Pixiv content channels now, if you find anything in there that's particularly excellent, you can give it a reaction with a star and it could end up and featured with enough votes. So it's a way of giving the community an interaction to the regular content stream that we have here now. On top of that, in addition to being able to create your own starboard and stuff like that for content, we have opened the option on Pixiv content channels for you to open your own thread on specific uploads. You can't send messages in there, but you can create your own threads in reply to content. And we have opened this feature up to the community because we felt it would be a good way for the community to tell the admins that, hey, something in here might not be very savory, or hey, this creator is known for this, that, and the other. Essentially, we are using the thread system as a pseudo report system on content, or as a pseudo comment box for you guys to
Comment
be able
box
to
one more. I like the comment box one more.
Yeah, it is.
Personally.
eh,
It
But
is.
yeah.
It can be used either way. You can open your own thread and name it whatever you want, but yeah, it's essentially going to be its own either comment box or recording thing as a way to interact with the community. So in addition to Pixiv comments, we can also use it as a comment box for the Discord specifically, which is pretty cool. and a report feature. Ideally, in the future for phase 2, I think that having a bot create an automatic thread for each piece of content that gets uploaded would be cool, but it's like not necessary right now. Phase 1 was all about getting the basic and necessities out of the way for the foundation. We can just use phase 2 as an excuse to build upon that, and on top of making a new standard guides and uploading for everything we have. We also can add different bots and different features. In fact, one of the big requested things for role plays has actually been Tupperbot. So we are thinking of including Tupperbot here into the server so you can use it for role play in the future.
This is assuming that people actually choose to do roleplay, since that scene died out like ages ago. But still,
It did die out ages ago, but given we
hey,
are revitalizing a lot of the Waffle Station Wagon, if people have any interest or vested interest in it because it's part of our writing content stream, we can absolutely consider these things in the future. Yeah, roleplay kind of got depreciated as the community got more and more niched and hit by those 3 axes. So it's important to at least consider it because we want to support all avenues of creation, including the writing as well as general artwork making. Because as the About Us kind of states, this community, the Waffle Station Wagon, is going to, in the future, be more geared towards its niche. What I mean by this is the Office is a good place to get started as a creator. It helps you understand video editing or artwork creation if you're a custom prop maker, or writing if you just want to make comics and stuff like that. And a lot of the people we know today have actually moved on to do bigger and better things, who started out with Walfus as a sort of start. There are a lot of pretty cool examples I can give to this, but
Though some might
I
probably
think
deny
you
the
already.
claim if asked.
hmm So, yeah, the Wolfus Station Wagon is going to be a stepping stone community to help give people a start for content creation, be it video making, be it artwork creation, be it writing career. Whatever they want, they can use the Wolfus Station Wagon as a good start with some free and handy tools to go for. So, that's the ideal generally. And we want to bolster that with community contests as well as Ort's example of bi-weekly prompts so we can keep the retention of the group going. Yeah, like Japeth said, almost 10 years and I'm still using Walfus, and that's fine. Like
Yeah.
if you don't want to go beyond the stepping stone of Walfus to create other things, that's perfectly acceptable. Walfus is a totally viable option to just create with in general, and it's a lot more flexible than people give it credit for. I know that there are people that are trying to work on a new Wolfus tool that's fully in our control that goes beyond what Kirby M had laid out for us, incorporating a lot of the same methods we used and maybe even the basic guidelines. And in fact, I have offered to be the creative lead on one of these projects going forward so that it can be up to the quality of standards that the Waffle Station Wagon has been and is going to be known for now. So, yeah, the future is definitely a lot more bright for the Waffle Station Wagon in general now. Now that we can deliver the kind of quality content that we used to, the Wolfa Station Wagon is definitely back, and Phase 2 is going to make it feel even more so. So, what about Phase 3, our next topic? Well, yes. As the topic lays out, Phase 2 sounds like another big update, but what about Phase 3? Well, as the description kind of states, this is going to be the fun phase where we incorporate a lot of the more fun features. Like the suggestion of Tupperbot was made earlier, but I think Tupperbot is more suited for something like Phase 3. And in the past, Chun had created a bot that you could, say, chat with like Cleverbot. It
No,
was
no,
using the
actually,
Clever.
that wasn't me. Or actually, it partially was. Very partially. I think
It was a
the
branch
oldest
off
version
it.
of Robonitori did that. The oldest version.
Yes. Yes, it
Ah,
was.
yes.
In fact, you had a Robo Nitori specific server or chat that people could mess around with, but fun features like that definitely had their place. But while we won't use it for, say, the voting bot specific Robo Nitori, we do have another alternative idea where we use Nanashi's old contest submission art to create the fun Robo Nitori that does all the, say,
Oh,
dice
yeah.
rolling and role playing features and other such cool things.
I guess I'll have to
So
host that
yeah,
one as well.
phase phase 3 is pretty much where we kind of settle into our community and make it the fun place that has more regular content uploading schedules and streams, because I'm pretty sure most of us are well aware of the fact that the community collabs that happen every Halloween and Christmas are one thing, but back in our old town halls, back when Siege was a part of it, he made the suggestion that we do some yearly collabs between those times, because we do big Halloween and Christmas collabs, but what about a Valentine specific event or community collab, or say a mid-yearly collab where we just do something cool? And the idea is to bring phase 3 into something where we can do that a little bit more readily and accessibly, and make the community have the tools possible to be able to get that. Since Guy has been working on the Halloween and Christmas collabs for quite a while, I wanted to ask him specifically while he's here, hey Guy,
Hello.
we have a new role with phase 1 called quality control, and we wanted to ask you here in the town hall if you wanted to be a member of the quality control club to help us vote on content and stuff, and also give you a little more easy accessible tools for your collab events in the future.
Wow, you can trust me with that kind of power, Diz?
Absolutely. I mean, you've already hosted the community collabs for how many years has it been? 3?
Something like that, yeah.
Don't worry. The worst you could do is constantly click the thumbs down button to deny submissions. You're fine.
Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. I will do it.
Do a
It
little
is.
bit of tomfoolery, as they say.
Funny, because Tom's actually my name.
Ah, yes, the foolery from
yeah,
Tom.
I would know.
All right, I'll tell you what. If
Mm-hmm.
you clowns want me to be the quality control guy, then here's what I need from you.
Okay.
Why don't you guys upvote or thumbs up or thumbs down if you guys want me to do this?
All right.
There we go.
Pretty swell guy. I trust you.
And
Yeah, I mean-
throw one here just to be safe.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
Is that-
thumbs up.
yeah, it's trust me, I'm not doing this because I want you guys to spam thumbs up. I'm doing this because I actually want to know that you guys are okay with me doing this.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're getting a lot of thumbs
Where's
up.
the neutral
Wow.
thumb?
Wow. Wow.
wait, wait, I thought there was different colors of thumbs up.
There
Oh,
are.
there it is.
You just have to type it. You have to type
You
out.
what? Oh my god, a flip. Oh my god.
Geez, that's
Alright.
language.
That one. There.
Oh my
All right, Diz. I
Yes.
think the station wagon is spoken. I'll take it on.
Okay.
Welcome to
congrats.
the Quality Control Club, my friend.
And I gotta remove the members role because nobody remembers to remove the members. No, wait, everyone's a member. Never mind. Not gonna remove it.
What's that? I'm not a member anymore.
What even are you talking about? What's the
Nothing.
story?
It's just fine
Funny
details, but never mind.
Funny role
Ignore.
related shenanigans.
Ah,
All right.
So-
Well, yep. Long story short, I'll take the role.
Okay.
Very cool. Welcome.
You now have access to the cool voting channel where you get to see me fail using my own bot.
All right, I'm gonna downvote all.
Great.
jeez.
You can download my face, but don't downvote any cool props or anything.
What's that? Downvote all the cool props?
Oh my gosh, no.
This is the reason why we have 2 people vote for the thing in order to push it.
But
Mhm.
he is 2 people.
We might
no.
increase the limit back to 3.
Depends on how it goes. I'll leave
Depends
it
on
to as a sort of trial
activity
period
and
and see.
such.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we can up our voting threshold when we get more staff in general, because the quality control can lead to a position if you want to pursue it. So it's like it's an option there for people who want to help the group but don't necessarily want the responsibility of being an admin, or if you want to get started and to going into a bigger role and just generally contribute a lot to the community, that's a role where you can be highlighted to do so. So yeah, if you would like to, you can use your position as quality control if you so get it to move up the ranks.
Well, yeah. Joking aside, whether you guys like me or don't like me, I'm still gonna be neutral regardless of this because I mean that's the role I took on when I first started doing these collabs. Like regardless of what a relationship is, it's not gonna change the fact that I still want to make sure that what goes through actually goes through and it goes through well.
Yeah.
Because I mean I don't exactly like rejecting people's works, but I have done it just because they, for lack of a better term, suck.
Yeah, and let's face it, that's why we have basic community guidelines, because we had a content creator, in fact, the content creator that was the original founder of the Walfus Guildhall, who couldn't even properly resize his text bubbles or size them right.
Oh, him.
Back in the day. So, it's stuff like that that we want to be careful about. And we do want to have a level of quality, but also make it accessible and basic enough so that people of all skill levels can come in. It's not too hard to make Wallfish content, but if you suck at making Wallfish content, that's a pretty low bar for a lot of people to set. And in fact, is the reason why we believe Kirby M eventually just straight up abandoned Wallfish, because its reputation was for people who, for lack of a better word, did not know how to make good content at all. Yeah. So yeah, that's what QC's role is, quality control. Welcome to the club of it. We are 3 members strong in admin and quality control now. Hopefully,
It took 6 years for me to finally get to this role.
It's only because it didn't exist.
So yeah, phase 3 will be just generally future proofing, and I even mentioned in the little widget for our topics, yeah, this will be the phase where we start planning things out, like taking the Wolfa station wagon a little bit more seriously in terms of actual future proofing, including server boosting. Server boosting and everything right now, we really don't have a plan for. We don't have emotes or anything in the backworks or anything like animated GIFs or anything that we're taking full advantage of. But with phase 3, we want to change that. We want to give you guys a full set of pretty cool emotes to use in this server or other servers if you're so inclined to use Nitro, which we don't recommend. But essentially just, planning out where we'll go if we get boosted, and also making use of things like the follow feature. Like, one of the things I wanted to suggest putting forward for Phase 3, and maybe even a little sooner if people found it interesting, is there's this Reddit specific group called Free Game Followings, right? Or Free Game Finding, excuse me. And there is a button on their Discord to follow them, and it's RSS feed for r/free game findings that updates every 2 minutes, right? So, say if you wanted to hear about the latest free game that was coming up, you could use one of those follow channels to basically get yourself a free game. Does that suggestion sound like it's pretty cool for a future-proof thing of Phase 3?
So are you
I'm game.
suggesting we use Epic
Oh,
Game
sorry,
Store for free games?
Oh,
Oh
essentially,
lord.
but there are free things that come to Steam too. However, I will bring the one mulligan that if we do click the follow, we will probably set it as NSFW because who knows what goes for free on there, and it might not be
Yeah.
safe.
Ugh.
I mean, it's not gonna hurt. What do we have to lose on it?
Yeah,
Our sanity.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
if you're on Reddit, you clearly don't have a sanity in the first place. Take it from somebody who's on Reddit.
well, I can understand because
Oh god.
the one reason I could diminish your sanity is sometimes on free game followings they put a link to download site, the Japanese website that hosts all that really nasty like
4chan.
family. Yeah, pretty much. So sometimes they post stuff that goes free on DL site, and that's gross. So no, thank
Deals.
you.
Oh.
Yeah, that r/50/50. Oh no, thank you. But
Don't you fucking dare.
no, thank you. Not here. But essentially, we'll be using some of the extended Discord features for a lot of Phase 3, including the
Whatever
follow
that was.
channel
I ain't clicking
and
that.
just generally making good use of server boosting and everything like that. Who knows? Maybe we'll actually get registered as an official group in Discord. That would be a huge responsibility and make us have to follow their terms of service even more closely. But, you know, we'll see where it goes. We don't expect the Wolfus station wagon to get like as big as it used to be anytime soon, but we do hope that we can embrace the community for its niche and just make it the stepping stone community we feel it definitely deserves to be. All right. So that should be it for our topics. For the after topics, anything that hasn't been mentioned or anything you wanted to bring up that wasn't in the lens of these topics is a good thing to bring up now to bring an old formality of the Wolfus station wagon town halls back. Yeah, go ahead and bring up anything that hasn't been mentioned here, any suggestions, any questions about any of the topics, and go ahead and do that now if you have any suggestions, questions, or comments. And while I do so, I will peruse my notes to see if I missed anything.
Is that one of those changing image GIFs? It's a still, but when you click on it, it changes. I'm not going to click on that.
Yeah, you don't have to do it as the recorder, but what about the 10th anniversary collab? Ah, yes, Guy, you did mention that earlier. Would you like to bring that up now?
Yeah, I didn't think Raiju was gonna be the one to bring it up, but yeah, you know what? While we're on the subject, why not? So, as you guys know, we've done this for 10 years. How we lasted that long, I have no idea, but we're still here and we're still doing this. So,
We're surviving right now.
We just got lucky.
We're
we just got
surviving.
taken on life support.
Yeah, pretty much, because we survived the end of Flesh, we survived the end of DeviantArt, we survived the end of Kirby M abandoning us. So
Wolfus
yeah.
forever.
Well, anyways, so I'll officially announce this right now is that I am going to take the initiative in doing the Waffle Station Wagon 10th year anniversary collab. What's that? A video announcement before Halloween and Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, damn it, I had a soundbite for this. Hold on a second.
What? Soundbite.
Let's see.
Oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah, go ahead. I've been meaning to put a video intended.
And it's supposed to be way that's illegal, man, but whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna be doing the 10-year anniversary, and apparently the 10-year anniversary is, if I remember correctly, July 22nd.
Yeah.
Well, to celebrate this milestone, we're doing a collaboration video, and I know you're probably thinking, wait, what's the theme? Is it an anniversary theme? Are we doing something random? Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you what it is. We're not doing a theme.
We're just celebrating Walfus.
Yep. This time, for the first time ever, the Waffle Station Wagon collab is going to be completely open-ended.
The only requirement is that it has to be Walfas and Toho related, and obviously should be safe for work.
Well, yes, and I think after 10 years of announcing this, you guys should probably know what the rules are by now, but if not, I'm going to post the rules right here, and if you don't want to read that for some reason, then I also have the link up for you guys to read this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's too long. God damn it, Discord.
Uh,
Whatever. Anyway, you guys get the gist of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, final video is gonna be presented at 1280 times 720 at 24 FPS. Send videos to myself on Discord or by my alternate email that I prefer not to use out in public, TacoBell828@hotmail.com. Yeah, send the raw video files via video sharing service. I don't care what, just as long as you can send it. And don't send YouTube links unless you can't send the raw files for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, deadline July 20th, and the video release will be on the anniversary, which will be Friday, July 22nd. And for this collab, I'm currently going to start writing a anniversary themed runner. But you guys are more welcome to submit whatever you want, as much as you want, just as long as it follows the rules.
Yeah. Standard fares from previous collabs apply and everything like that. And this is just going to be our branching out, and it's a pretty good segue into more community collab based things. Do we expect delays? Hopefully not this time. We will if we have to, but it is the usual sort of standard fare. We might do it at the beginning of next month.
What's going on? Oh dear.
Uh-oh, he's...
What's up?
Oh. Suddenly the bit rate went to crap on my end.
Yeah.
Can I
also,
still be heard? Because I live with Diz.
I think things are
There
fine
we
now.
go. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
think it's fine.
Diz got dizzy.
What on earth is happening?
Yeah,
What?
I don't know.
had a stroke. Okay, then. Hi, I'm back.
I had a stroke too.
Yeah, weird. Okay. Anyway, yeah, like I was saying, we're hoping to keep the release date on the date of the anniversary. So delays to it are hopefully not going to happen this time. We will do it if necessary, but no, we're planning on putting it out on the anniversary this time.
Well, fortunately, we actually managed to release it on the specified release date last Christmas. So, I mean, we're making good steps on it. But yeah, like I said, if I'm going to be taking care of all of this, then you guys got to hit those deadlines unless you work with me beforehand. Otherwise, I'm going to take it. I'm going to close the submissions. I'm going to work with it as is, and then you're going to upload it as it is too.
Mm-hmm. And like
One thing I absolutely cannot stand is being late.
Yeah, I 100% understand, especially given it's the 10th year anniversary. It kind of
Yeah,
crept on us like this. So it's kind of cool that we got all this phase 1 stuff done in the midst of the upcoming 10-year anniversary collab. Do we expect that all the phases will be done by that point? Probably not. We still have a lot to work on in that sense, but phase 2 will be worked on congruently while the 10-year anniversary is coming up. So you have something to do as members of the community, and we have something to do for the admin side of this community. So yeah.
and plus you got a month and a half to do this, so you can't really use the "I have no time" excuse for this unless you're on vacation for that entire time. Then sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, completely understandable. I mean, I'm gonna be free for the last part of June and also the rest of July.
Well, good. Better see a lot of stuff from you then.
And of course, like
I have a
summer
job.
break is coming up for people in school too, so it'll be a good chance for people who have school to have free time on the upcoming June. Hopefully, if their school isn't stupid and like doesn't do summer vacation or something. But yeah.
And I
People,
got
I see.
go ahead.
yeah, and I work like 45 hours a week on average too, so it's gonna be a little rough on my end, but I'll make it work. But it's probably a good thing I'm announcing this month and a half beforehand because it's probably gonna be how long it's gonna take me to take care of my own run or two.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking to help with it this time. Yeah, I'm actually planning on submitting something and setting a good example for once.
Sick. All right, yeah, I'm gonna try recording the video and get it out in the next few days.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, sweet. And I'm not sure if any of you saw my like videos or my comics.
Yeah, it's good to hear. It's good
All
to
right.
be back. It's good to be back in some form with this community because, my goodness, after all of the years of silence and everything like that, it almost felt like the 10-year anniversary would go by with just a whimper. But now is a really good opportunity to prove that Walfus isn't dead. Walfus just has, like Death Valley, been dormant because when it had rained in Death Valley, a bunch of flowers bloomed once. And that was kind of a big deal, and it said to everybody that Death Valley wasn't really dead, it was just dormant. And for a lot of our community, the Walfus station wagon had been laying dormant after three things, very big things, happened to us. We now have a viable alternative and are slowly bringing back the features we all used to once know and love, including a bit of more. So, yeah, with a Pix of content, you can now make your own threads for a comment box or a reporting system for anything we don't catch. So if Key fails to upvote the thing right, hey, at least you can catch him on that with a thread.
Viz, by the way, I do want to mention that I don't have a Pixiv account, so that's not something I can take care of.
Oh, no, it's okay because you don't need a Pixiv account to vote and make a thread. You just need a Discord account. In fact, the entire reason we put this forward is you didn't need a Pixiv account to be a viable quality control or even admin. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
do
good.
not.
That's good because I'm probably never going to get a Pixiv account. I'll be totally honest.
Yeah, which is understandable. Pixiv isn't entirely for everyone. We knew that going in, but if you do want to upload content and have it featured in our group, you can do it either through Pixiv or you can do it directly through the Discord. Both are totally viable. So yeah,
All
welcome.
right. Well, I think that about does it on my end. Unless anybody has any questions for me.
Hmm. If you have your questions or any questions, comments, or concerns for the town hall, go ahead and do that now as well.
I don't think there's anything that I need to ask about.
Hmm.
Does anybody have anything they want to ask me about?
No.
Can I have $20?
I don't know if I should answer that.
But I can tell you one thing. I'm like one of the ancient ones.
Very cool. But
Ancient ones,
yeah,
huh? I mean, one of my videos I made it during my Halloween countdown is very ancient.
I see. But going over my notes here, the only thing I haven't brought up is things like the FAQ and where that's going to go, because the FAQ is in its first stage and we wanted to make it so that we could add to it as time goes on, right? So the question and answers thread, we do have a suggestion box in the FAQ. So if you have any questions beyond the town hall or beyond the other thing regarding rule specific precedences, anything in our detailed rules that might confuse you, or just generally pointing out where we might have missed something, yeah, this is the place to go. So we have a suggestion box, and the suggestion box feature can be done with the Pixiv, as mentioned before, or a comment box if you're so inclined to not use Pixiv's comment section. So yeah, generally, we're pretty future-proof through phase 1. So phase 2's priority is going to be updating our basic guidelines and bringing the Discord community up to snuff so that we have pretty much everything feature complete for the community. And then phase 3 will be all about adding on to that good foundation. So yeah, since nobody had any questions, comments, or concerns, I'd like to just say the Walfus station wagon's back. Welcome back, everybody. It's been way too long, and sorry for the slow updates. Yeah.
Well, one
It's
thing.
good to be back.
Sorry.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that hopefully this collab, especially being open ended, will help garner more interest in doing Walpus. But yeah, if our just going back on what we said earlier about something that Siege mentioned, like doing more video collabs throughout the year, just not Halloween and Christmas only.
Mm-hmm.
That might keep the creative juices flowing too, because I mean, but considering how close Halloween and Christmas are together, that's like 10 months out of the year we're not doing anything either. 9 months, sorry.
Yeah, and I can understand the burnout from doing just Halloween and Christmas related themes over and over again every year when you have other ideas that you might not be able to capitalize on because of the lack of the theme is an important issue. So, yeah.
Well, that aside, we got a lot of Walfus videos that we may not even know exist because a lot of people are just kind of falling into obscurity. I mean, the only reason, the only reason I was discovered is because Steve found one of my videos once just out of pure chance.
Yeah, yeah. And we want to give a centralized place for content to be visible and seen. So, yeah. The idea is just to make this place future proof.
Yeah, so honestly, that's something I want to strive for if I'm going to be taking on these roles. I want to strive to try to make this a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Inviting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who want to make it, but they can't get their stuff out there just because, well, one, DeviantArt is dead now. At least it's dead to us. And two, we only do 2 collabs a year, and they're both like at the end of the year, so that's just like 9 months that nobody's doing anything with.
Pretty much. So
yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean all of us have to keep doing stuff, because I mean I can't come up with ideas that much, but that doesn't necessarily mean other people won't submit something. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, I've had inclinations of that too. Not just sticking to a winter Christmas theme or other such things, allowing the creative flexibility of people to thrive, as well as having basic standards and guidelines to help push them into the ability to be able to participate into those collabs. Essentially, with the new updates we have planned going forward, it'll be hard not to participate. And that's the best part of all of these updates going forward, is that even though we have had a huge rut in the community, we have used that time to brood and think about what we can do going forward. So the potential has always been there. We've only been sort of gridlocked by the fact that we didn't have a viable alternative to DeviantArt for the time being. With Chun's help of creating RoboNitori, we pretty much have all that we need to work around it now. And so adding new features, adding new bot functions, and adding fun stuff, yeah, It'll all be there in the future. If I had to give any estimate, I'd say we'd be probably good with all of these phases by the end of the year. 2023 can pretty much be considered a good point of contention for a revival. I think after phase 3 is done, we can focus on promoting the group and just generally reaching out to other people. Because one of the cool things that the Wolfus Station Wagon used to do back in the day is just generally invite your friends over to have fun with this quirky little program that is a little less demanding than, say, drawing out a whole comic or making a whole
rendering.
video series. Because animation is really hard, but having a tool like Walfus to mitigate that is really nice. So, yeah, having just basic community collabs to demonstrate what we can do with Walfus is what we're all about. So, I'm excited for the future and welcome back, everybody. I'm glad to be here. It's a good thing, honest to God. Wolfus definitely didn't deserve to die. Out of all the Flash things that exist, I think Wolfus was pretty beloved. So it's nice to
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah, I really didn't. Go ahead, Edward. Sorry.
I'll see what I can do to download this live stream when it completes. I'll let you know if anything new comes on that front.
I will send you something that can help download it, by the way, or
I think you
just
can.
for
I
you.
think it can be downloaded directly from the account itself, so long as you're logged into it.
Or you could use the GitHub YouTube downloader program, which is like really easy and simple to use too, as well. So yeah,
Oh,
no problems there.
all right.
I think that will conclude the town hall actually, because out of all the notes and everything like that, I pretty much covered everything. We will probably do another town hall as needed. Eventually, I am hoping that the town hall can be done pretty much as regularly every month as it used to be. I think that would be a good and healthy thing to do. And I want to open the door for the community just to be able to host their own town halls. So it doesn't have to be
Oh yeah.
admin centric because, like Spez's original vision for the town halls, they can be community hosted.
I do think we need to
Mhm.
I think
We
there
need
needs to be some kind of
to.
moderate.
What
Yeah,
was
we
that?
need something to help act as the middleman. Maybe we can
Yeah,
implement another bot, and that bot will be connected into the Wagons channel, and then just
Yeah, something
use a
mitigate.
chat command in order to begin recordings, live streams, and such. And yeah.
because the last thing we want to do is have a community hosted town hall and it just go absolutely AWOL.
Also,
Well, yeah, something mitigated.
I've been meaning to get to share. Diz, I've been meaning to share with you the actual login stuff for the channel itself, because I don't think it's been shared
I have
around
it.
before. Oh.
Yeah, I understand. I know Guy got it before I did, and it's mainly because, I've been sitting behind and brooding because in the time it's taken me to come back to this community and revive it with the help of Chun and Ort and everybody, I lost my house. I made it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I
Man,
lost my old
Why?
house and everything like that. So I've been trying to work on this update while living in a new place. And yeah, it's been tough. And learning more
He's
about what I've been going through specifically, I do not think I should helm the community necessarily, even though I've been kind of spearheading the town halls for the past few years. I kind of want to pass the torch off to the community,
Mhm.
but still be a big part in, handing that torch off because, after phase 2 and phase 3, I don't think I'll be really contributing too much more to the group. Not as though I'm going to leave it, but I just don't have any more ideas of what I could do for the group. I think the
That
rest of
and he could honestly use a break because between losing a family member and then losing his house and then coming to California to pick me up so I could move in with him, yeah, the dude's tired.
Oh, yeah.
Diz, I think I can speak for
Yeah,
everyone when I say
this
that you're
definitely deserves a break.
Yeah, go ahead, Gee.
Diz, I think I can speak for everyone when I say that you're not exactly obligated to be here and keep pumping out content. I mean, what you're doing is enough as it is too. You don't have to be here and constantly keep pushing yourself on a group that is arguably well run with and without you. Not to sound mean about that.
Oh, no, I understand. And in fact, I think that's a good thing because
Yeah, you.
regardless of how it sounds, I do want the community to live beyond just my pushes for it to be better. Because ideally, I've always wanted it to be like it didn't have to be me that pushed this back or get this town hall running or anything like that. Yeah, mental health and everything, I'm doing a lot better than I was. And because of that, I've been able to push a lot of these rules and everything. Like, I just pumped out those rules in like, how many days was it? 4? And it's like, that's only because I had the time and the energy to sit down and finally do it, because I'd been brooding on it for like a year and I hadn't been able to push anything out. And it was really frustrating because real life gets in the way. And I think that's going to be true for pretty much everybody here. Real life is going to get in the way, whether it's school, whether it's your job, whether it's family, whether it's another community. And I have to acknowledge that Wolfus as a whole is not the end all be all. It's a good place to be and it's fun to make content for, but at the end of the day, it's secondary to real life and all the other thing that goes on. So, yeah.
I mean, you're not getting paid to be an admin for the fucking Waffle Station Wagon, so don't feel like you have to go out of your way to do this. We can. I think we're perfectly capable of handling ourselves to some degree too.
Yeah, and honestly, first and foremost, Wolfus, if anything, should just kind of be a hobby for fun. It shouldn't be anything professionally driven or job driven or money driven because that takes away the spark and passion that's behind Wolfus in the first place.
Though I will say I have been tempted
Makes
to
sense. I
upload.
mean, I'm more of like a Wolfus hobbyist. I'm more of like a YouTube hobbyist after all.
A lot of people are, and that's perfectly acceptable. Though I do admit have thought about opening a stuff like a Patreon and stuff just so I can continue going with this kind of stuff, but I'm never going to demand anybody send me anything like that because even though I lost my house and everything, my whole goal has always been I don't want other people to worry about me because I'm perfectly capable of getting myself out of the rut that would cause. So I know I'll be okay and I will focus on real life where it's needed. So don't worry about me in this sense
You
because
can't. Well, I will say this: you can't really send him money because he doesn't want it, but you can send me money. Please commission me.
Hey,
oh my goodness.
yeah, don't worry, say all the same $20.
I'm already sending money to another creator, so I don't know if I can send money.
My
Well,
commissions
never
will
feel
open up in 2 weeks because my ID arrives and then I can actually verify things. So I'm in pain.
Yeah, no worries. I'll send you $20. Hey, Craig, can I borrow $20 by the way?
No.
By the way,
it's going
in
to
a
tell
bit more.
So.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Ort.
And slightly more of an important notifier. I was the one who had boosted the group, but I'm considering letting my Nitro subscription run out anyway due to, well, the staff behind Discord. I don't think I want to financially support them anymore.
I can understand. And of course, with Phase 3, I want to acknowledge that nobody has to server boost us or anything like that. It's just a neat little thing you can do that gives us more stuff in the end. It's not a requirement, though. The biggest thing I wanted to say about the Wolfus Station Wagon is that this place is free, and all of the stuff in it should be free. So we'll be formal about certain things, but as kind of mentioned in the distribution of illegal content, we aren't gonna slap anybody or ban anybody unless they're like flagrantly ignoring it, because we understand the need for some professional software getting it by wink wink nudge nudge means is still an option if you want to creatively have more tools at your disposal, but we ask that you take those things to private as well. So, we're not at the centralized point in here. One of the reasons why we don't encourage illegal content being shared here is because we don't want our group taken down and all of this hard work just gone. So that's the sort of thing we're talking about when we're talking about future proofing and just making sure the community will live beyond phase 3 and just be its own thing. And if people want to make a phase 4, that's entirely on them. The community is open for whatever you want it to be. Phase 4 could be the creation of a new Wolfus tool or something if you wanted it to be. But yeah, this is just what we promise you that we will be working towards as admins, and for the collabs and everything. We are happy to see that being run by a community member, because that's what we've always wanted. It's nice to see that's going to be a thing moving forward. So, yeah, I will close the town hall with this and cut all the tangents. So, yeah, be well.
Adios, guys.
Thank you for
Thank you for
coming
joining
out
the town hall.
to visit us.
See ya,
Yeah.
See ya, folks. It's all good.
Yes,
Until the
later.
next
See you
town
later.
hall. See you then.
Man, it's morning in here.
Later, nerds.
Please commission me in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Please send me money. I need your money now.
I can't immediately stop the stream because there's a delay, but
Uh-oh.
yeah,
It
send
should
you.
be done.
Send you. Send you. I mean, see you guys
No,
later.
not OnlyFans. No.